Yo, what the fuck is up, gamers? It's your boy the Goose. We're here for episode number 10. 10. Last time I can do the fingers. I think I've been doing them before. Of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. I've just been calling it the Great Ace Attorney because I'm playing the Great Ace Attorney. Or Ace Attorney Adventures. My bad. My bad, gang. I'm just fucking wrong about that. I think I've already. I go back to Z. So I need to examine. I forgot I gotta like click. Perhaps I should see what the Russian crewman makes of the scene of the crime. Excuse me. What? I was wondering how it's going. The investigation? Grandmother told me Japanese people do not make jokes. But it's not true, I see. Sorry? The criminal asking investigator for information about his crime? Very funny. Oh, it wasn't supposed to be a joke.
He doesn't appear to be laughing either. He's convinced you're guilty.
He might have use for information, though. I have to keep trying. So, last night, did you notice anything out of the ordinary at all? Niet! Of course not! Now back to corner of room and make silent. I say no more to you. Ah, did I hit a nerve? Just for a minute there, he seemed a little flustered.
Oh dear, that won't do.
Oh, what's the matter, Susato-san?
Whenever I'm examining things, I always find myself so focused I forget to look around properly.
Ah, yes, that's not good.
I don't suppose you're as foolish as me in that regard, are you, Naruhodo-san?
I guess. Oh, it's a fucking tutorial. Okay, yeah, I can. Oh, I wish I'd read what she said. Okay, B and M. Interesting choice of. Interesting choice. Is that his whole fucking arm? That's actually insane.
That's Kazuma-sama's precious sword. He never went anywhere without it.
Yeah, he was always saying that a Japanese man's katana is his soul. I'm already regretting this voice.
I believe he had to work very hard to convince the government to allow him to bring it on this trip.
Suppose that shows just how important it was. Let me like sit up too. There we go. And now he's gone. But I'm not ready to let his spirit go just yet. Alright, big dog. Yeah, what's with this whole, like, limb here? It's my dinner from last night, a roast chicken. It was really tasty.
Yes, it was very delicious, wasn't it? But, did you eat it on the floor here?
I'm not a dog, Susato-san. I ate at the table, of course. Which begs the question of when and how the plate ended up on the floor.
But Kazuma-sama didn't like chicken at all, did he?
No, that's right, so he didn't touch it. Which meant all the more for me.
Oh no! Does that mean poor Kazuma-sama spent his last night on this earth with an empty belly? It's just too horrible.
Now I suddenly have a guilty conscience and an achy stomach. Yeah, they're probably not gonna feed him, are they? What do you think this is? Looks like a broken piece of glassware. Whatever the thing was, it appears to have been broken clean in two.
The glass is such a beautiful color. It looks like a cute little Natsuke fastener from a kimono outfit.
Not sure that sounds like Kazuma. He wouldn't have secretly carried a cute little trinket around like this with him, would he?
And the mark beside it. What is this, I wonder? It is a sort of brick-like hue.
Yes, you're right. It is the color of brick, isn't it? Even though I don't see anything of the same color anywhere in the cabin. Interesting. God, there's so much to fucking explore. These are rules of passage for travel aboard the SS, what did I say, Buria?
It's essentially a list of requests from the captain to all the passengers on board.
Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are strictly forbidden. What? Why are you staring at me?
Oh, sorry, I was just thinking. Are you more of a dangerous object or a pet?
Yo, that's crazy.
can't decide.
Well, one thing's for sure. Either way, I wasn't supposed to be in here. That's actually nuts. The books have fallen over on the shelf. Look, they're all toppled the same way.
And what's this? A statue of some god of the sea? Although he's fallen over as well.
Yeah, it's almost as if the whole shelf had been ransacked and everything mowed down at once.
I wonder if perhaps it was Kazuma-sama's doing his morning sword training, do you think?
I seriously doubt it.
Then perhaps it was you, Naruhodo-san, in a fit of rage.
I wouldn't have bothered leaving the wardrobe just to mess up a few books and a statue. Could the way these things have been thrown about have anything to do with the case, I wonder? Dude, there's no fucking way I'm sorry, there's no way I'm putting any of this together. I'm throwing that the fuck out there right now. I'm not figuring it out, dude. There's no way.
Well, I'll just set everything straight again. I don't like to see a mess.
Alright, just fuck up the evidence, why don't you? Did Kazuma write that before he died? Looks like it's written in ink.
He must have knocked the ink pot from the desk when he collapsed on the floor. Then I suppose he wrote this message by dipping his finger in the spillage. Poor Kazuma-sama. No doubt he was in terrible pain. It's almost unbearable to imagine it.
Suppose he was trying to leave some kind of clue in his final moments, was he? Sorry, partner, but I can't read your writing. Interesting.
I don't think that's Japanese, Naruhodo-san.
What? Then what kind of language is it? This voice, I cannot hold her voice for too much longer.
It pains me to admit it, but I don't know.
It's not a foreign script I'm familiar with. What does it mean, I wonder? God, how did I used to do Maya's voice all the time? Well, hers was, it was like,
That's a very large traveling case, isn't it?
no, even hers wasn't. What did I do for her? Yeah, it carries a lot of memories for me.
Memories? What do you mean?
Well, that's actually how I stowed away on this vessel. I was brought on board inside that case.
Ah yes, I see it says this way up in Japanese.
Which in hindsight, I should have realized the foreign crewmen wouldn't be able to read. I was turned over and over and over, and I was tossed on the floor in here.
Oh dear, it always isn't as romantic as it sounds.
Why would it be romantic? Unless... No, I'm just kidding. Well, it was less painful than a Susato takedown. Is my, like, camera fucked up? Oh. Nah, it's just about where it should be, I guess. Why would I even need to go? You can't see what I'm looking at. It's over here. Like, fucking, I can move my camera. Hold on. The vent! They snuck out in the vent. It's been 2 weeks.
Have you really been living in that wardrobe there the whole time, Naruto-san?
I think living isn't quite the right description.
Oh, no, I suppose not. Although it must have been rather exciting making this voyage in your own secret hideout.
Trouble was, I never knew when a member of the crew might come in. So yeah, I basically did have to live in the wardrobe. And last night was no exception.
But because of that, you had no idea what was happening out here in the cabin.
No, sadly not. No idea. I didn't know. Why can't I even click on that?
Yes, it's a bell cord contraption, I think.
What do you mean, contraption?
I read about it in a book I was studying that talked about life in Great Britain. Large households often have bell cords like this, which you can pull to ring a bell to summon servants.
Really? It sounds almost magical. Shall we give it a little try?
Yes, in the interest of cultural research, obviously. I suppose nobody comes for lowly Japanese people.
No, I'm sure it's just that everyone's busy, that's all. Sure. Show me the vent.
I think that's some kind of opening for a ventilator. A hole through which fresh air can circulate the cabin.
It's a little odd.
What do you mean?
Well, this ventilator, if that's what it is, looks like it must connect to the next door cabin.
Yes, it would appear to. You're right.
But if its purpose is to allow fresh air into the room, surely it should be connected to the outside.
That's true. Perhaps it's so that rain and spray don't find their way in when the seas are rough or something like that?
I suppose. Maybe that's it. It's also interesting. Check out the desk.
This is where dear Kazuma-sama would have sat whenever he was writing.
London Diary. Poor Kazuma, he didn't even make it to his destination. Looks as though the last entry is incomplete. Which means, what? He's in the middle of writing when the incident happened. Let's see what it says.
Hi-ya! That's out of the question.
What?
Kazuma-sama may have departed this world, but you must not read his private thoughts.
But what if it's something important? Something relevant to the case? Alright, I won't read it. What the fuck? Who's that? He wasn't there a minute ago. As far as I can tell, he looks like he might be European.
Oh, how did he...
You've noticed the man too, have you? No idea who he is or how he got in here, but he looks suspicious and tall. Suspiciously tall.
Naruhodo-san, don't tell me. Do you really not know who that is?
Well, no, I don't have any foreign friends or acquaintances at all. He doesn't look like a member of the crew. There's something very unusual about him. And is he investigating Kazuma's desk, or is he just playing on it? I can't tell.
Well, in that case, we simply must talk with him.
Am I just imagining it, or does Suzato-san look almost uncontrollably excited?
By the way, I expect that you've noticed already, but just in case, if you press space on people when they're in the crosshairs, you can converse with them.
Alright then, I'll get that suspiciously tall gentleman in my sights and see what he has to say for himself.
Oh, please do.
Alright, yeah, fuck it. Come here, idiot. Excuse me. Excuse me, do you have a moment? Shh! This is a critical point in my investigation. Oh, it's Australian, I don't really care. Maybe I should leave him alone. He seems a little unfriendly.
Yes, perhaps that'd be for the best.
Oh, what the fuck? Greetings! I hope I haven't kept you long.
Ah!
What exactly were you doing on Kazuma's desk just now? Hey, what the fuck? Ah, I see! Fascinating! Sorry? What do you see? Feels like he's looking right through me. Oh yes, everything is clear now. The train of reasoning has run its course. My deductions have crystallized. You have been in Afghanistan, I perceive. Just recently returned, if I'm not mistaken. Sorry? What? That was my reaction. I was like, what are you talking about? Afghanistan. And now, whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you find yourself in a most troubling predicament. Oh, well that's true at least.
But how?
How the deuce do I know that, perhaps? It was really a most elementary deduction. Hardly worth explaining.
Have you perhaps managed to deduce anything else?
But of course, a great many things. There's no mystery, my dear madam. For example, you have fled your native land of Russia, being as you are a merciless revolutionary. You leave 16 victims of assassination in your wake, and now travel to England to blow up the Crystal Tower. And when the Barabin's occupant of this very cavern discovered your identity, you ended his life too. Yes, I believe that summarises the facts beautifully. No need to hide the truth now. Nothing deceives these eyes. Just to be clear, you're talking about me, are you? Certainly I am. Do you see another in this cabin who fits the bill? A Russian assassin with 16 victims to his name? I don't even see one person who fits the bill. As nobody. Is that her? Is that me? It's not him.
So it's true. It was you who did this to Kazuma-sama.
What?
And you're plotting a revolution, too. It's shameful behavior, Naruto-san. Absolutely wicked.
No, listen, there's no way.
Hi-ya!
What the fuck? There's no way she's this stupid.
Now explain yourself. Tell me everything.
This is ridiculous. This is getting a little silly. Yeah, that's exactly the music this should play.
How can you do it?
For pity's sake, open your eyes. I'm no Russian revolutionary, obviously.
Oh, forgive me.
And as for you, what kind of deduction was that? You were just saying the first thing that came into your head. Ah, but was I not right? Whilst venturing towards foreign climes, you do find yourself in a most troubling predicament, do you not? Well, yeah, maybe. Ha! There you have it, you see? What do you make of that, Well, to be honest, this ship is en route to England, and I'm in handcuffs at the scene of a murder. So, I'm not really sure you could call it a deduction, it's more plain observation. Indeed! An observation, my dear boy, is the basis of all deduction. My method is founded upon the observation of trifles, you see? I enhance my findings with brassy certitude. And more often than not, I'm right. I don't think you introduced yourself. My apologies. How remiss of me. I'm none other than the greatest detective of the century, known to men and women of the world over. The inimitable Sherlock Holmes. Dark.
So it's really you, the actual Sherlock Holmes?
The very same. The inimitable actual Sherlock Holmes. Do you know this man, Suzato-san?
The most famous detective in the world? Naruto-san? Of course I do. There's no one who hasn't heard of him.
What planet have I been living on then?
We must ask him what he's deduced. He will have worked out the entire case already, I'm sure.
Really? Why do I feel uneasy about this? I don't trust him. Alright, great detective. Yeah, lay it on me. So you're a great detective, are you? Sorry, what was your name again? You're gonna make him say it again. Indeed, I'm none other than the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Oh, I see. You're German. Herlock, was it? No, I have no hair. I mean, I have hair. Please, call me Holmes. You can read all about my exploits in this exciting London publication.
Oh yes, Rand's magazine, full of wonderful short stories and interest articles from Great Britain. I never miss an issue. I have it sent from England especially.
Ah yes, here it is, The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, you're the protagonist in a series of short stories then? Indeed I am. And you've read so many of your own stories, you started to think you actually are a detective. Make no mistake, I'm not the poor deluded fellow you take me for. Your inference is backward. Backward? What? Huh? Who? My trusty biographer records my greatest detective achievements and chronicles them in a magazine. You're a biographer, do you? Doesn't everyone? Mine goes by the name of Dr. Wilson, presently keeping shop in London. Dr. Wilson? I must say, thanks to that publication, I've been fantastically busy of late. I love that he, hits him with that fucking pose every time. Why, this very moment, I'm returning from Asia, having solved the mystery of the cursed royal crown. Really, I can't work out whether I should take this man seriously or not. Deduction, you see, is to me a science. And logical reasoning in its purest form.
A science?
Really? The astute observer notices even the most subtle reactions in the subject. A furtive glance, a twitch of muscle, a slight inclination of the posture. Fingernails, arm sleeve, froze in the skin, all these things are data. Right. And the trained logician makes deductions from this data in the blink of an eye. The ultimate conclusion is, without fail, the truth. As I demonstrated only a few short moments ago. How can he look me in the eyes and claim that? So you see, I have a turn both for observation and deduction. And fame. That is what makes me the one and only Sherlock Holmes. Alright, let's talk about Kazuma. Let's hop to it. Have you managed to deduce anything about this particular case yet? If I managed to deduce anything, my dear fellow. Who do you suppose discovered the culprit in his most cunning hiding place? That's right. He was none other than the great detective before you now, Mr. Herlock Sholmes. I see. In other words, I'm in these cuffs now because of you, jackass.
When I became anxious about Kazuma's island this morning, I summoned all of the crew members to force the cabin doors open.
And I concealed myself among their number, gaining entry to the scene of the crime. Yes, luckily for everyone, the great detective Herlock Sholmes was on board. And the handcuffs seem to be an excellent fit, Mr. Naruhodo. Arrgh! Sure. The very moment I laid eyes on the scene, two facts were immediately apparent to me. Oh really? Two facts, you say? Tell me about these two facts. Mr. Sholmes, tell us please, what two facts were apparent when you came into this cabin this morning? Ah yes, but first let us be precise. The two facts in question were immediately apparent to me. Yes, I understand, but what were they? Allow me to elucidate. The two facts I deduced from a momentary glance at the scene of the crime were as follows. Number one, the cabin was locked from within, rendering escape of the culprit out of the question. Number two, the victim was Russian, and killed following a dispute with an acquaintance. Hold on, Mr. Sholmes, what made you think the victim was Russian? Observe the dying message left by the victim on the floor. Tap... I don't know what this is. That's the Russian word for wardrobe.
Do you really think Mr. Kazuma-sama would have left a dying message in Russian?
In their final moments, many find their native tongue filling their heads. But this young man Russian. Kazuma was Russian, was he? No, he wasn't. Initially, I considered Gardarov may be the name of a killer. A certain Robert Gard, perhaps. All in the interest of thoroughness, I decided it would be wrong not to look inside the wardrobe there, at least.
But you found Mr. Naruhodo sleeping soundly.
Quite so. I found you, the renowned Russian revolutionary killer. Why is it that I'm Russian too? I observed that you were wearing the same attire as the victim. In other words, you were acquainted. And if my memory serves, that outfit's traditional dress of Russian people.
Our school uniforms are the traditional dress of Russian people? I had no idea.
And I had no idea the detective could get something so wrong. Yeah, it's actually kind of nuts. I took a photograph of the victim and the message, that I might analyze it for possible hidden details. Interesting. This was taken immediately after the young man was discovered, before the body was removed. Yes, Kazuma had already been taken away when I woke up. This is the first time I've actually seen him like this.
Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo?
Oh, yes, thank you. So I got the photograph. Again, no clue how any of this is gonna work out. This bro's like left-handed. Can I ask you something, Mr. Sholmes? What, pray? You mentioned Russia before as well, didn't you? You know, when you said I was a fearsome revolutionary fleeing from Russia and all that. Ah yes, the train of reasoning that led me to the truth. Do you mind explaining that train of reasoning to me, do you think? Certainly, if it interests you. How many times? I'm not Russian, and I don't speak Russian. Alright, tell me about your deduction just now. Can we talk about your deduction before? The things you concluded about me, I mean? The now famously accurate, troubling predicament you find yourself in. Actually, it was the other details I was hoping more to discuss. You know, the merciless Russian revolutionary and assassin of 16 part? Ah yes, the more sordid details. It was a fairly commonplace deduction. Here we have this morning's paper. The headline reads... Revolutionary villain Bolshevik flees Russia via Shanghai. This vessel made a port call at Shanghai yesterday, and last night the young Russian was murdered. Since when was Kazuma Russian?
It sounds like Mr. Sholmes has concluded he was Russian because of what Kazuma-sama wrote on the floor.
Oh shit, wait, hold on, what is it? It was a simple act of reasoning that the culprit of this crime was the same merciless revolutionary. One who would kill the very man who helped him to escape after his true identity was discovered. Yes, you, feeling Bolshevik. No, how could it be me? I don't look anything like this man. Look at his face. Well, You are a fearsome revolutionary, after all. Therefore, you have no doubt learned to revolutionize your appearance as well. Please, and I might add, your name does not appear in the ship's passenger list. Need I say more? That's because I'm a stowaway.
What about the other details? The 16 victims of assassination and blowing up the Crystal Tower?
Ah yes, the journalist clearly interviewed the man and printed all those particulars in the article. The deeds the man has perpetrated thus far and those he's plotting. Yes, everything about this revolutionary Bolshevik was included. There can be no mistake.
Do revolutionaries usually agree to do interviews with newspaper reporters, I wonder?
And what about the part you said I was returning from Afghanistan? Also quite clearly stated here in the article. Bolshevik is recently returned after a period of subversive activities in a war-torn region of Afghanistan. Where even is it anyway? This Afghanistan place. Fuck it, I feel like fucking Hosanaga. Here, take the paper for yourself, as a little memento of this great deduction. Oh, thank you. I've absorbed all that is of interest to me within its pages. I see no rubbish bin nearby. Definitely need to read that at some point. And you may find the article on the back page of interest as well. On the back. Cast your eye over it sometime if the interest takes you, though you may need someone to interpret. It's all written in Russian, I couldn't hope to read it. I suppose it wouldn't hurt just to glance at the article. Maybe there might be a picture or two. Right. What are you investigating now? Before we started talking, you were examining Kazuma's desk, were you? Kazuma! Ah yes, the victim!
Did you notice anything useful? Anything at all?
Observe for a moment the desktop of the victim. We see that the victim is engaged in penning some text. London diary. Kazuma was keeping notes of the trip. Ah, but I don't think you should read his private writings. It could upset people. Tragic! And yet something you ought to perhaps elucidate before the act of reading. You mean you've read it already? It is my business to know what other people do not. Yes, believe it or not, I know a smattering of Japanese. Oh, I see. You're about to know what a Suzato takedown is. Suzato-san, aren't you going to throw the detective with one of your trademark takedowns?
I'm sorry, Naruto-san. What on earth do you mean?
Life is so unfair. This is a bullshit. This is a bullshit. Anyway, to return to the matter at hand, namely, this diary belonged to the victim. It would appear the final sentence is incomplete, as if the author were cut short. Tell me, what is the nature of the writing? May be precise as to details. Oh, I thought you knew Japanese. A smattering, dear boy, a smattering. Sayonara, bonsai, mikado, nado. I trust you're suitably impressed. Well, this diary is littered with complicated-looking characters, of which I can read precisely none. What's all that showing off about then? Fucking dumbass.
If you would be so kind as to show me, I'd be happy to read it to you, Mr. Sholmes.
I'm much obliged, my dear madam.
The final entry here in Kazuma-sama's diary consists of just two short sentences. The first reads,
1:23 a.m. I can hear a faint whistling sound. A whistling sound? Ah, these are very deep waters. Pray, go on.
The second sentence reads,
1:35 a.m. What looks like some sort of speckled band is dangling from the ventilator grill. A speckled band? What on earth does that mean? Oh, you think it's the snake that they showed at the beginning? You think he got bit by a snake?
I have no idea. I've never heard that expression before.
Ah, the ventilator grill, you say? The man was presumably referring to the lattice there in the wall, which connects to the adjoining cabin. Yes, the adjoining cabin. Interesting. Very interesting. So, I believe I've given you enough to consider for the time being, at least.
You have somewhere to go?
As it happens, the victim's writing in his diary have piqued my interest. The matter warrants further investigation, I believe, and if I'm still too long, the seasickness takes hold. Oh, is that why he keeps doing that shit?
Oh, I suppose. You're thinking of investigating the cabin next door, which the ventilator connects to?
Great detectives are a curious breed. Our minds revel in stagnation. We crave mental exhaustion. So yes, I intend to investigate. Hence, the truth will become clear soon enough. Do you think perhaps that we could go with you? No, that would be somewhat complicated. But why? A simple glance at your wrist should reveal the answer. Oh, these. After all, you're the prime suspect in this matter, no? There's no point in trying to turn it into a question. You're the one who decided I was the culprit in the first place. Whatever do you mean? I have no recollection of naming you as the culprit at any point. You must be joking. You just said it only a moment ago. Dear me, you're clearly misguided. I would have no cause to say such a thing.
Well, actually, Mr. Sholmes, I did hear you say that too.
You're quite sure? Well, that's very strange. I wouldn't have said you had the face of a criminal, you know. No, really. So what? Were you looking at my knees before? Some great detective you are. But anyway, that was then and this is now. What do you mean? What I mean, sir, is this. If you are the culprit, then you must play the part more convincingly. Roll over and accept your fate. That was just being plain rude. And off he goes, having just laughed in my face. A sense of humor is as twisted as his name.
Naruhodo-san, what are you just standing there for? We must go investigate the cabin next door as well.
But you're forgetting something? What about these?
Hi-ya!
Ain't no way she just broke through them.
After Kazuma-sama spent his dying moments struggling to leave us a clue, you're willing to give up? You're just going to roll over and accept your fate?
Oh, as if you gave me any choice in the rolling over part. Yeah, it's kind of bullshit. She's fucking, like, beats on him. I think we still have investigation to finish off here first, don't we? Let's carry on examining what we can in this cabin while we wait for the chance to slip next door.
Good idea.
Situation doesn't look good for me, but there's still things I can do to help myself. I owe it to Kazuma to do everything I can to find a way out of this, bring the real culprit to justice. I gotta, like, talk to that guy, don't I? Real shit though, I'm already fucking tired. I'm already sleepy. So, I got most of the shitty part done. We're like 30 minutes in, so I'm gonna end it here. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode next week. Bye bye.